I'm going to tell you 3 things that you should know before you move off grid. And of course, this depends on if you decide to do your off grid life in this way, right? So if you want to do solar panels, it costs probably a minimum of about $1,500 to invest in just starting up with the solar that you're going to need. The one that we have is just for our electronics. Like, we don't blend anything, we don't cook anything. It's just purely electronics, because if we do other things, then it's going to drain the battery by like a lot. And also, it's not always sunny here, so we have to be so conscious of how much sun we're getting and how much that we're using as well. But with just 2 panels for all 3 of us, it works out really well. And you can also decide to use a generator, which, you know, you're still gonna have to buy fuel for, and it does not smell that great when you're using a generator as well. But that's what we use to blend our smoothies, so we turn it on about once a day to blend those. The second thing about living on grid that you may not know is that if you decide to get water from the rain, you are therefore dependent on rain. So wherever you're moving, you want to make sure that it rains enough that it will fill up your water tank, because otherwise you're gonna have to pay probably a couple dollars to get someone to haul water to you. And then investing in a tank does cost a little bit of startup money, but you can always go around that a little bit by getting you some trash containers and filling those up with water. Third thing you want to know about living off grid is if you decide if you don't want a refrigerator. That's going to be very challenging if you do eat a lot of meat, because a lot of those do need to be frozen in order for them to have longevity. But we don't eat meat, so we find a cooler to be a decent investment for us, but it still requires, well, I think it was about $100 or $150 or something to buy the cooler that we got.
What's this?
It's a seed. So if you're like us, you may want to invest in a cooler, and then we have to replenish it with ice, I think about 2 times a week. But that's mostly when it's been really, really sunny. So we buy 2 15-pound blocks of ice, not the ones that are already cubed. And then we have to be conscious of that in the cooler. So there's limited space. So we've had to really learn what things can stay out and what things are better in a colder environment. And that's honestly, I just realized today, has been kind of nice, because, you know, sometimes Chino will be like, well, can this stay out? And I would just already know, because after being here for 2.5 years, I know what things can stay out. And I can also tell by the temperature, like, okay, we can get away with for this many days or this many hours and stuff like that. So if you're deciding to go off grid, these are a few things that you should consider before you do, because let me tell you, you don't want these things to sneak up on you and you're like, oh, I thought this would be as easy as an Instagram or a YouTube video says. No, there's a lot of interesting, intricate parts to it.